Hey everyone, welcome back. So today I'm going to do a video on my top 10 first time watches of 2024. So that basically, it doesn't mean these movies were made in 2024 or released in 2024. It just means what I personally have watched a movie from any year ever made, but what I watched this year for the very first time. I'd never seen it before. So yeah, so that's how the video is going to be. So obviously there's many videos or sort of movies out there that I haven't seen, but these are just the top 10, I would say, movies that I've watched for the very first time in the year 2024. Let's go. So number 10 is a movie called Dream Scenario. This was put out in 2023. It's 102 minutes long. Basically, it's a surreal drama. Family man Nick Cage, he's sort of a, slightly borderline depressed, kind of like, very low energy guy, shall we say. He's just going about his everyday life, the mundane, and then all of a sudden he starts appearing in everyone's dreams. So people who he works at a university and or a college, whatever it is in America, and basically some of the students start dreaming about him. Some of his colleagues, some people from his past, they sort of bump into him, say, "Oh, you'll never believe this. I had this strange dream about you," and that's how the movie starts, basically. So yeah, he starts appearing, and at first it's very good because obviously people are now sort of paying attention to him. He's getting a bit of limelight. He's always been sort of stuck in the shadows and just been like this dad figure. Um, and yeah, it's sort of like a popularity thing where he's becoming quite popular. Everyone knows him. Everyone's kind of like a bit freaked out by the whole thing that everyone is just now becoming, even complete strangers are now dreaming of him. This absolute nobody. Um, but yeah, I won't, like I said, I'm not going to spoil hopefully any of these movies. I'm just going to give you a bit of a taster of what the initial plot is to get the movie going. And then I'll leave you to look into it if you wish to afterwards, and if it sounds like something you might be into. So yeah, I had a really good time with this one. Like I say, Dream Scenario, Nick Cage. I really like this type of like surreal drama based movie. Where it's sort of like quite grounded on a lot of levels in terms of reality, but it also then takes things way off of reality at the same time. Hard to explain. But yeah, that's my number 10 of 2024 first time watches. So coming in at number 9, so number 9 this year was one I watched much earlier in the year. I think back in the summertime, I remember in the old garage cinema on the big projector screen, nice hot day, and that is a movie from 1994 called The River Wild. So yeah, The River Wild. I remember it had a really good cast. This movie. I'm trying to think who was in it now. Kevin Bacon, I think. But yeah, basically, really good film. Just like a family action adventure thriller type thing. I say family, like I think it was a 12 or a PG possibly. I can't think now. But it had a few scenes in it which weren't like proper young family, but it had that kind of like family feel to it. I think it was the kid who played Tim in Jurassic Park. I think that's the kid I'm thinking of. He was in there. But yeah, really good. This family essentially from memory decided to go sort of like water rafting, and the mum's sort of like I think she's a woman who does it all the time. So like she's very trained and she's very good at it. And she's taking her family out. And as they're getting ready and going on this sort of like water rafting, they get in these canoes sort of things and start going down the river. And sort of coinciding at the same sort of time where Kevin Bacon's character and a couple of other shady looking fellas are also getting ready in a canoe to go down a similar path. But part of it, I think, is shut off for the season, or is kind of like quarantined off because it's too dangerous at that time of the year. So there's certain bits they can't go down and such. But yeah, they basically go off on there, and as the film progresses, you sort of realise that Kevin Bacon and crew are maybe not the fun-loving, nice people that maybe they are meant. They're trying to make themselves seem at the very start of the film. So yeah, just follows them both groups of people going down this rafting river basically. Really nice looking. I remember seeing like the massive waves and everything and the big scenes out there. Yeah, I had a great time with this one. I thought this was a really good film. So that's my number 9 of first time watches of 2024. So coming in at number 8 is a 1986 movie, and that is called TerrorVision. So I think I mentioned this one on my pickups video last video possibly, or video before, one of the two. So it's 85 minutes long. It's a comedy creature feature kind of horror movie from the 80s. And the rough sort of premise of this one is this 80s family get a state-of-the-art kind of satellite dish installed. and while their parents are, these two kids' parents are out for the night, I think their grandparent is there staying with them. The satellite dish is picking up strange signals, should we say? So yeah, they get these strange signals come into the house, and things are displaying on their TV quite odd. I like the whole thing about this one. I really like the practical creature effects that end up coming into this towards the sort of middle and end of the film. I like the 80s feel of the whole film, obviously being set in the 80s. I like the sort of like semi-bad acting, the semi-bad sets, everything about it was just so fun. Just really fun horror, kind of like, you know, a beer and a relaxation type of movie for me. So yeah, if you haven't seen TerrorVision, I'd recommend checking that one out. Coming in at number 7. So number 7 was a very different film. So it's a much more newer film than the last one. So this is a 2023 movie, and that is the movie called Robot Dreams. So again, I did mention this on a pickups video because I have this on physical somewhere. It's 102 minutes long, and it's an animated drama. That's the best way I can kind of like describe it. Again, I don't want to spoil any of these movies, so I'm going to give you the very, like, you know, the bare bones I can give you without taking anything too far for the movie to be spoiled. But essentially, it's an animated film which has no dialogue as such. It's all sound effects, noises, you know, streetcars beeping their horns. I think it's set in 80s New York, if I'm not mistaken. About this dog who's really lonely in an apartment, and he sees an advert on TV for these robot companions, basically, and decides he's going to order himself one. So he's got someone to be around and someone to sort of hang out with. And it just follows their journey, basically, as they get to know each other and hang out together. And like I say, I'm not going to say any more than that because the film does go off then into different sort of paths slightly as it goes into the sort of second act, third act of the film. Like I said at the time when I picked this up on physical, this is a movie which will test if you have a soul. So if you want to find out if you've got a soul, if you're alive, if you've got any human emotion, watch this film and let me know. So yeah, that is number 7 in my list of top 10 movies, first time watches of 2024. Okay, so coming in at number 6. So number 6 is a 1980 movie, one I've heard about many times over the years, and it's just one that's always just never been put on the screen. I've always just sort of pushed it back and pushed it back. But I finally got to it this year, and I'm so glad I did. And that is a movie called The Long Good Friday. So yeah, I got this one on the Arrow edition, 114 minutes, and it's basically a British gangster movie. So I didn't know what to expect with this movie going in. I just sort of knew it was obviously a British gangster type movie. I think it's Bob Hoskins is the main star of this one. Big fan of him. And I didn't really know what anything else was about. I didn't know what I thought maybe, you know, could have been sort of like some sort of terror-based thing of like terrorist groups maybe, or I don't know, with gangsters. Had no idea. But yeah, went into this one pretty much completely blind. And it was really good, really good. Not what I expected quite. It was sort of like very different. So again, a very brief outline for anyone who doesn't know or hasn't seen it yet, like myself. Bob Hoskins is playing this sort of a head gangster, I'd say, in London, who's got his sort of finger in a few pies around the area, shall we say. And he's got a few sort of like henchmen that follow him around, but he's trying to do some sort of a merger. I think it is all getting business with some American people from over the seas. And whilst they're visiting these people, he's trying to sort of show them, wine them and dine them a little bit. But things are falling apart in his sort of like territory, shall we say, all around where he lives. And he can't figure out why or who's doing it to him. And that's basically the premise. And like I say, I won't go into any more details than that, so I don't spoil anything. But yeah, really good. Really enjoyed this one. So yeah, that is number 6 on my list of top 10 movies. Cool. So number 5, we're getting to the halfway mark now. So number 5 on my list of movies for the first time watches in 2024 is a movie from 2021 called Red Rocket. Lisa, if you're watching, Lisa loves, sort of sorry, sort of thanks. I was watching one of your videos and I think you said you really didn't get on with it. I believe you were saying, if I'm wrong, please correct me, but I'm pretty sure you said you really didn't get along with this movie at all. And I heard you say that, but when you were describing it and when you were talking about it, I thought it sounds quite interesting to me. So I thought I was going to check it out. So I checked it out. It's number 5 on my first time watches of the year. So yeah, I had a great time with it. I described this one as a bit of a gritty drama, sort of a fairly realistic drama type thing. And again, a brief outline of what's going on in this movie. We've got this guy who's like an adult film star, shall we say, or has been. And things we don't quite understand what's going on. I don't think it spells out too much for us, but basically it alludes to the fact that he's kind of like done in that business now. He's not like welcome so much there anymore, and he ends up crawling back home to his sort of like poorer town, should we say, where he grew up, to visit his wife. From what we can tell, he hasn't seen in quite a few years, and the mother-in-law. So, you know, tensions are a little bit high. He's trying to kind of like worm his way back in and make friends with everyone because he's sort of down and out on his luck now, and needs a bit of money, needs a bit of cash, needs to find a job. But obviously, based on his past history for so many years of what he has been doing, he doesn't really have any experience in anything else. So he struggles to find work. But yeah, like I say, I won't say too much more than that, because I think then you can kind of go, if that sounds anywhere near interesting, it's worth looking into from there. So yeah, I had a good time with it. I thought it was really good. I understand why Lisa probably did have some reservations about it, because the subject matter is a bit controversial, shall we say, in terms of like it feels a bit awkward watching it sometimes. But you'll understand that if you if you watch the film, and you understand why I mean. But overall, I thought it was a good film. I enjoyed it. So that's number 5 on my list of top 10. Okay, so number 4 on my list of top 10. Sorry, I've just had to do loads of edits and cuts because I've messed this up several times. So number 4 on my list of top 10 first time watches of 2024, nailed it on the 8th take, is a 2023 movie, 83 minutes long, and it's a comedy horror. I saw this film at the film festival I went to in October, the Horror Film Festival, and it's called The Last Video Store. I think Arrow have either now put it out on disc or they're about to put it on disc, depending on when the video hits here. I didn't really know much or anything about this one apart from the title, to be honest, going in. Saw it on the big screen, and yeah, had a great time with it. I had a really good time with it. I was so impressed. Now, that's not to say it's the best movie in the world. It's far from it. It's a very, I'd say, unique taste. You'd have to have quite a unique taste to enjoy this movie as much as I did. So it's definitely not for everyone. But general outline of this one, if you like horror movies, if you like VHS horror from way back in the day, or action, or just rental shops, the old blockbusters, and you like comedy and you like a bit of horror, this movie could be for you. So again, the general idea of this one is this young girl basically goes to this basement underground, sort of like still just about hanging on by a thread, surviving video rental store in sort of like present times. She goes to return a few tapes which have been basically left by her late, I think it's grandfather or father, one of her family members basically had these videotapes rented from the store, and he sadly passed away. In his should we say, in his last wishes, he explained to her that via a note that she needs to return these tapes to this video store. So to fulfill his sort of last wishes, she takes these tapes back to this video store that he leaves details of for her. She goes in there, and we meet the main cast guy. So it's only really 2 or 3 members of cast in this movie, to be honest. There's not a lot of people in it, but it's really good. So she meets this video store owner who's very kooky, very kind of out there. He reminded me very much of like he's Canadian, I think he might be, or American, might be Canadian. A bit like our version of Bill Bailey. So yeah, I don't know why, he just reminded me slightly of Bill Bailey, but like imagine Bill Bailey in a video store, but in the Canadian version or American version of that. Yeah, basically he works in this video store. Obviously he's very passionate about movies, got lots of movies around in his video store, lots of VHS. He remembers all the good old times of the good old days of the action movies, the horror movies we used to get. And obviously, due to probably copyright reasons, I would imagine, your Friday the 13th that they're referring to have to be renamed and rebranded as something different to not infringe on anything like that. And your big action stars can't be called Arnold, and they can't, so that you have to kind of use a little bit of common sense and imagination as to what they're getting at. But essentially, all the things and characters there, you can kind of tell where they're going with it. It's a generic camp slasher horror character with a hockey mask. So we all know who we're talking about. They're all the types of films that he loves and gets on with and has in his video store. And this girl basically just wants to return the tapes. As she goes down there to return the tapes and starts to explain why she's returning them, something happens where basically a video, I'm trying not to spoil too much of this, so a video gets put in his player to rewind, but the video may have some issues, shall we say, which then releases certain things into reality. I'm going to leave it there. I don't want to spoil too much, but yeah, if you like old school horrors, if you like, it's very self-aware of it, of what it's doing. It pokes fun at itself. It pokes fun at the genres that we all love and we've all grown up with, such as your horrors, your actions, those big budget cheesy things. It just has a great time poking fun at them while being really funny at the same time. I had a fantastic time with it. So that is the last video store from 2023. Okay, so number 3 on my list of top 10 movies of 2024 for first time watches is a 2013 movie called The Borderlands. Now, I think if you follow the channel regularly, back in the summertime, you probably would have seen me watch this for the first time and go on about it in several videos, so I don't want to spend too long on it again. But it really impressed me, this one. I think it came out on Second Sight disc. I picked it up. Found footage horror, 89 minutes long, so it's not very long. In Great Britain, in the UK anyway, somewhere, there's this church who claims to have had a miracle happen in the church, and the church have to send in some priests to basically debunk any potential misleading miracles that are being falsified, just to sort of like boost numbers in the church group. So they have to go and investigate. It's all found footage. It's all kind of like dark, creepy corridor kind of scenes. I had a really good time with this movie, and that's why it's number 3 on my list. It was a toss-up between this one for number 3 space and the next one, which got the number 2 space. Both quite similar in a lot of ways, but different in others. So, we'll get on to number 2 very soon. But yeah, that's number 3. Okay, so second place of my favourite watches of 2024 for the first time is a movie from, again, 2013, same year as number 3. And that is Ti West's The Sacrament. So yeah, very hard to put this one and The Borderlands in which slot second and third place here. Couldn't quite work it out, but just because Ti West is now becoming one of my favourite horror directors, it just pipped it for me. Just pipped it. But on a different day, it could be the other way around. So yeah, 99 minutes, found footage horror once again. And again, I won't spend a whole lot of time on this because I'm sure I've done maybe 1 or 2 videos talking about this at a fair length. So The Sacrament, he follows the a documentary crew who I think work for an online kind of media company who do sort of like investigations and stuff. They basically go in because one of the guy's sisters has been, let's say, taken or has decided to join this sort of like cult group, basically, who are saying, they're not really a cult group. They're just nice people. They just do things differently and they want to hang out together and, not rely on society and all that jazz. So they decide that they can get in there because they've now got this link and they're going to try and do a bit of filming, investigate and see what's really going on behind the scenes. So yeah, and being a horror, being Ti West, you can tell that it's not going to be plain sailing. Like I say, I'm not going to spoil any more of the movie and that. So that is The Sacrament. It's number 2 on my list. Fantastic time. Absolutely love that film. Okay, so for the number 1 spot, the movie I had the best time with for the first time watch in all of the movies I watched in 2024, which was probably over 300 movies. I think it was 350 something last I checked, so it could be getting towards nearly 400 by the time this video goes up. So out of all those movies, some of them are rewatches to be fair, the number 1 has got to be a movie which I thought was a cult classic and everyone had seen, and I was just very late to the party. But since watching it, people at work of various generations. So I've got teenagers that I work with. I've got people in my age. I've got people that are older than me. No one's ever heard of it. No one's ever heard of it. I thought this was a massive film. Maybe it's just because they're not in the film community, but I thought it was so big. Maybe it's because it's an American-based thing. Maybe in America they have everyone. You can tell me down below if you're from America. Is this like a cult classic in your territory? Because in here apparently no one knows this film. I'm sure most of you guys will know this film or have heard of this film at least. I know I had, and I thought it's just one I've been struggling to get to for many years, as there's so many films to get to. But it is a 1993 movie, 101 minutes, and it is called The Sandlot. So yeah, I just assumed and thought this was just one of those classic movies that everyone saw as a kid, everyone loved. Like I've said previously, I'm not into sport, so this was based basically on, I think it's a baseball game. So it never really drew me in when I was younger. I and I thought that was maybe why I just avoided it and everyone else in the world had seen it. Let me know down below. Have you seen The Sandlot? Because hopefully I'm not on my own here, but if you haven't seen The Sandlot, it's my favourite watch of the year. Yeah, family sports drama adventure. So it has very strong vibes of things like Stand By Me. So if you're a fan of that movie, I'd say definitely check this out. Very loose premise, again, not to do too much spoiling. There's basically a kid turns up in this town in America, being this new kid in town. It's the summer breaks or summer holidays, no kids are at school or anything. And these kids, group of about, I think it's 8 kids, are basically playing, just, you know, back in the 80s, just playing on this sand lot, playing baseball, doing what they love all day long, every day. And this new kid rocks up to town. He's not particularly into the sport, I don't think. He's not, you know, he's not a massive sports fan, but he does want to make friends and not just be on his own in the 80s. So he's like, he tries to sort of make friends with these kids on the local estate, on a local area, you know. So he sheepishly sort of like goes over, tries to make friends. They all realise he's absolutely terrible at playing like baseball, catch, and like hitting the ball and stuff. So they sort of laugh him off. But one of the kids takes sort of pity on him. Luckily, one of the kids who sort of has the hierarchy sort of leadership role, and yeah, he basically takes pity on him and thinks, you know, we should give this guy a chance. We could probably help him out. So they take this kid on board. They sort of like they hang out with him. He starts becoming one of the guys, and it just follows their adventures, their tale of basically playing it. It doesn't sound very interesting, but it's really interesting how they shoot it, and I really love the whole thing, the whole feel of this movie. The kid actors were fantastic. They all had such unique personalities, considering there was, I think, 9 in total of these kids. You could tell every single one apart. You never really got confused which like one's between another. It had so much charm, so much 80s kind of like charm about the whole thing. There's this whole storyline, which I won't go into, about you know, what's beyond the Sandlot where they play. There's the whole backstory of like this new kid's basically family have broken down, so he hasn't got a dad figure, he's got a stepdad figure, which they're sort of trying to work things out. Yeah, really, really good. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend it. I've got a feeling everyone's going to tell me like, yeah, no, everyone's seen that one. You just work with people that have never seen it in their life because they're not into films. But that was my number 1 pick of my first time watch for 2024. Comment down below if you've seen it. Okay, so thanks for watching, guys. If you've stayed with the video this long, thank you very much. Nearly half an hour in. Yeah, what have been your top watches of 2024? Let me know down below, do a video and I'll check it out. Thanks for watching, like I say, and I will see you next time. Cheers, bye.